Hey, Magic Man here, and today I'm bringing you a game in the Tier 5 German destroyer, the T-22. Now, this destroyer is in its stock form currently. This is only my second game in this ship, and this is a game of domination, and it is a Tier 7 match. And one thing that's special about the guns on this ship that I actually like, if you saw there on the screen, you saw how the gun barrels basically pointed straight up when they started rotating. Well, because these guns on this ship also double as AA guns, they basically rotate 360 degrees. So these do not have to traverse from one side of the ship to the other. They just point up and they switch over to the other side of the ship if you're maneuvering violently. So that's really nice. It lets you keep your guns on target in this ship, and I probably will be keeping the T-22 when I move on up to the Tier 6. I am actually a fan of this ship, and right now I'm moving in to capture the B point, but the concealment on this ship stock is 7 kilometers. With the camo, which I have on this ship, you can get it down to 6.8, and the stock torpedoes will go all the way out to 7 kilometers, and they do have a 61 knot speed, so they're pretty fast, but the damage is a little bit on the low side at 13,000. Not as high as the Japanese, but they do have just a little bit better torpedo concealment, so they'll get spotted and won't give your enemy quite as much time to dodge them. Now there's the enemy T-22, and I know this guy is in a division, but he immediately smokes up and denies vision to everyone else, but do manage to hit him and reset. I probably fired those out of range. Yeah, that's what it looks like from a mini-map. I was not paying too much attention, unfortunately, so I definitely know that those aren't going to hit, but if he moves up or out of his smoke screen, maybe I might get lucky, and it looks like we have a suicidally charging Mayoko, so that's one less cruiser that we're already going to have to start this game. But in continuation with my German destroyer videos, this destroyer is a little bit bigger than the others, but it is going to have the same 2.9 second rudder shift time once you get the upgraded hull. In its stock form, which is what you see here, it has a 4-second rudder shift time, and you only get 9,400 points of health, but it goes up to 10,000 when you get the hull upgrade, so that's not too bad for a Tier 5. And I get detected, so I'm going to go ahead and fire on this guy. Now, the guns on the German destroyers, these are the same 105mm guns you've been dealing with from the last two ships, the G101 and the V170. They reload in 4 seconds. They have a fairly nice turret traverse, so nothing's really new there. And they are quite lobby, I'd say. The shells tend to have quite a bit of arc on them. Not as much as the US destroyers, but fairly close. But they are still usable up to ranges, I'd say, to probably about 9 kilometers. And then it's hard to hit anything other than a battleship at that range. But I'm just kind of hanging around this cap right now. I'm trying to get into it, and I feel like I'm really wasting an opportunity here, mainly due to the fact that this ship excels at it's basically a torpedo boat, and I just realized that I'm actually fighting a T-22 that has the upgraded hull. So even though I've hit him a couple of times, he still has more health than me. Well, that's actually just knocked him down to under what I am. So now we're basically on equal footing there. But yeah, I'm not doing my team too much damage. Just loitering around this cap. I guess, you know, I'm denying the enemy a cap, but I'm also not using my ship's biggest weapon, which is the torpedo system. These torpedoes, they have like I said, a range of 7 kilometers, but they also reload in 68 seconds. So you can throw out quite a few torpedoes in a game. Basically, you can throw out a salvo every minute. Now, once you actually pick up the torpedo servicing expert skill with your captain, which gives you that 10% reduction in torpedo reload, you're going to be looking at 61 seconds as far as the reload goes on these things. So you'll be looking right at a minute as far as launching torpedoes, and that's going to catch people off guard. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that nobody really plays these ships. But with the 6.3 patch, I really feel like the German destroyers are... They fill a space now. And they're, in my opinion, a very defensive set of DDs. They are torpedo boats specifically, but they do have pretty decent guns, so you can use them if you need to. And I think I'm going to display all of those things in this game at some point here. Now I need to get a little bit closer, but I'm also have to be wary because there is a Belfast in this game. And it's actually piloted by, I think that's somebody with a press account, or maybe that's a game moderator. I'm not quite sure who that is, Lord Zath. But it's not really looking too great right now. We are down a ship, and the enemy is clumped together, and we're a little bit more spread out. I'm trying not to get detected here. I don't want to give this guy any reason to think that there might be somebody about to launch torpedoes in his general direction. And it looks like he's got at least one of his cruiser friends coming up, so I'm going to hold my torpedoes till it looks like I am in a good spot to maybe hit more than one ship. I don't want to get too close here. I do have to remind myself that my concealment, yeah, and it looks like maybe he's going to have another buddy coming up right behind him, so I'm going to fire these torpedoes, one ahead and one a little bit behind, see maybe if I can catch the cruiser, because it looks like maybe the cruiser's going to follow in behind him. Not quite sure. But you still have the same amount of torpedoes as you had on the V170 and the G101. You've still got 6 torpedoes, but instead of having those forward launching single torpedoes, you now have 2 triple launchers on this ship. Yeah, and it looks like we're actually going to get that cruiser, but the battleship was going slow enough that even with me firing a spread behind his prediction, I still missed. But it looks like we're going to get 2 torpedoes on that French cruiser there. And it still looks like, even at this tier, the torpedoes, you've got about a 50% chance of causing a flooding with these things. Because it seems like for every 2 torpedo hits, I get 1 flooding with this. Now, I knew that Belfast was around here somewhere, and he actually does pop his radar here, but I feel like I've positioned myself fairly well to avoid being shot at. And his radar is basically going to be a waste. Because at this range, it'd probably be hard for anybody to hit me, with the exception of that cruiser right there. I'm going to fire 1 set up ahead here, and I'm going to hold this other set for this battleship. I didn't know if that Belfast was going to come out to try and get me, or if he was going to sit in his smoke, and it looks like he's going to sit in his smoke, unless that's the T-22 in his smoke. And I'm not quite sure, but yet, no, that's definitely the Belfast, considering how many shells there are. And now I need to hightail it the heck out of here, because I do not want to be this close to a Belfast and get spotted. That'd just be bad news for me. So it looks like we might actually catch 1 torpedo on the battleship. And yep, we actually hit 1, and it actually causes a flooding, which is great. Because this guy, I think he used his repair earlier because he was on fire. I wasn't sure, but that seems to be confirming it, the fact that he is not repairing it. He obviously doesn't have his repair up, so unfortunately for him, he's going to take a lot of damage for however long it takes his repair to get back up, and seems like a good place to launch torpedoes. With him flooding, he is going to be slowing down, so I felt like maybe I could clip him right there as he goes through that gap. But this is kind of what you have to do in the German destroyers. You have to play very disciplined, stick with your team, and use your torpedoes sort of defensively. If the enemy starts pushing into your team, you really need to throw out the torpedoes, make them think twice before. Now, I have an island in between me and that Belfast, which is why I decided to start shooting here. And we actually cause a fire, which, yeah, and actually get liquidator as well. So that was a pretty nice little deal there. You can actually throw out torpedoes fast enough if you're careful enough and paying enough attention to do quite a bit of flooding damage in these destroyers. And the game is looking much better from the standpoint of my team now. And really the only threat left to me, I think, is probably going to be that Belfast up there. But it looks like our team's got it in the bag. We've held the A and B cap, and we even held the C cap there for a while. So the points are definitely in our favor, but I probably shouldn't be saying this is already over, because it could change at any moment, especially with a skilled player on the enemy team. Anybody I usually see with a WG in parentheses next to their name, I assume is a very skilled player. And it looks like the T-22 is over off to our right, and the Belfast is in front of us. I was trying to move into a position where I could actually torpedo run that Belfast, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And if there's one thing with these German destroyers, like I said, you got to stick around your team and play defensively. I've tried several times in the other destroyers to kind of sneak away and get on a flank where the enemy wouldn't expect you, and the destroyers don't really have a small enough detection radius to pull it off. Usually a scouting plane or something will spot you and basically ruin your day. But so yeah, anyways, basically just don't try and play this destroyer like the Japanese destroyers and get out on a flank by yourself and launch torpedoes from unexpected angles, because most of the time it doesn't work out. But moving on to the results, we did actually get one base capture, sunk a ship, and did about 53,000 points of damage, and got the liquidator medal. Came in second place on the team there to the Kamikaze R, which is an even better torpedo boat than this one is. It has massively damaging torpedoes, and you can send them out like every 40 seconds, which is even better than this one, which is 60 seconds. So yeah, scored most of our damage there on the battleship and the cruiser. Actually got 20,000 from floodings, and another 20 from torpedoes, and a little bit from the main battery. Like I said, guns are usable on this ship. I wouldn't use them most of the time though, because it gives away your position. But after it was all said and done, made about 82,000 credits and got a nice little chunk of Commander XP. But if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. So yeah, anyways, basically